Back now?
You're back now.
Okay, so Dr. Fad gave me a very special topic, and actually that topic goes hand in hand with the, what Mrs. Juru has already covered. That is to do with, presentation. So once you look at what type of the person you're talking to, actually comes down to, actually sharing the information. And my player today is to share with everybody how to, is essentially is part of team building, because I strongly believe team building is a process, it's not a one-time event. A lot of people do think that, they've spoken to somebody one time, that person said yes or no to them, and that's the end of the process. Whereas the process of recruiting or team building in ACN is a process. And the process essentially consists of three important elements. The first, and again, if anybody needs these slides, you just need to send me an email asking for the slides, and my email address is svptahirsaleem@gmail.com. So understanding the process is very important. First of all, is speak and invite. So you really see if the person is open for an opportunity or not. You do a presentation with them, and then you actually close them for either joining the business, or the beauty of ACN is they don't have to join our business essentially for us to benefit or for them to benefit in actually ACN. And we're blessed to be in ACN, that we are the only company, even if somebody decides not to join ACN, still they can take benefit by saving money on the essential services, and at the same time by helping us, we will be building our residual income as well. So that's the, I think, is huge. So closing means either getting them as a business partner or getting them as a customer. And recently I learned this from one of the top leaders in ACN, that closing also means getting them to, commit to come to one of, ACN trainings. It could be a webinar, it could be a Saturday training, it could be a local meeting. So that is part of closing as well. It necessarily does not, like, imagine, as Mrs. Juru said, some people are urchin. So if you're talking to an urchin is not sure, they can't make their decision straight away. They need some time. So you got to give them an opportunity, a second chance to come in, have a look at the business, and then they'll be better able to make their decision based on that. Next is, for just for the sake of today's presentation, I'll cover, how to present ACN effectively. And when I talk about effectively does not mean being the best presenter, because we are not entertainers in ACN. A lot of people think, presentation just means entertaining people. And I see a lot of people, when it comes to presentation, they're thinking too much about themselves, that how they're going to come across so good. And the basic, difference between the people who become great presenters in ACN and they get a lot of people to join their team is they're not serving themselves. And I see a lot of people, when it comes to presentation, they're serving themselves. They listen to all of these trainings and they try to, put all this information on a new person, and the new person cannot digest that information. So I'm going to share a very basic, a simple, effective way of present. And I urge everybody to make notes, and trust me, if you listen to this information very carefully, and we're going to have some recordings by Mrs. Aerosmith, and we're going to send you this recording. If you listen to this training again and again, you won't have to ask anybody ever to present for you. And here's the reason why I always say that, because this is what Mr. Jimron said this perfectly, that if you present ACN opportunity to 10 people, they get to hear it one time. Because you're talking and you're listening all the time, and that builds up your belief, and most importantly, it makes you a better person. So bad before you are excellent, because a lot of people say, a lot of people think, and I used to think the same way as well, because I used to think, okay, he's RVP, that's his presenting, he's SVP, that's why he's presenting, he's a circle of champion, that's why he's presenting. But that's wrong. He's circle of champion because he presents. He's regional vice president because he presents. It's not that, first he waited to become a regional vice president and then he started presenting. They started presenting first, and because of that, they become a regional vice president, senior vice president, a circle of champion. But you got to make that decision that you become bad to become excellent. Because my mentor told me that you have to be bad before you're good. You have to be good because before you're better, and you have to be better before you're excellent. So if you're not willing to follow this process, and I love Mr. Juru, he's laughing at me, looking at his student, the biggest student of Mr. Juru, he says He always tells me, failures love the results. Successful people love the process. So it's a process. We have to go through the process. And successful people love the process. So presentation, let's look at the elements of personal communication. So it's essentially we're communicating an idea to somebody. And for me, it's not just communicating, as our co-founder recently said, it's more about connecting. So how do we connect? We connect through spoken words, we connect through our tone, our voice, and we connect through our body language. Now, here's the biggest mistake. A lot of people think too much about the spoken words. They say, I can't speak that well. I can't speak that fluent English. English is not my first language. I cannot speak in front of a lot of people. And they put too much, emphasis on spoken words that, I need to know everything before I start presenting. So I'm not going to give you, an opinion. I'm going to give you a law, because if you don't believe, the whole universe is governed by laws. A very important law is the law of gravity, because law of gravity does not care whether you know the law of gravity or not. It just operates. And if you want to test it, you can go to a 20-story building, jump from that, and you will see you'll never go up, you always go down. And it does not matter if you're a good person, you're a bad person, you're somebody, you're a saint or you're a crook. Law of gravity works for everybody the same way. So I'm going to tell you a law over here. That's a model by Dr. Albert Mehrabian, and he said only 7% out of the communication is the spoken words, 38% is the emotional or the tone, the way in which you talk, in which you talk, and 50%, 55% is the body language. So I really want to talk about the body language and the tone with which you talk, because the 7% will look after itself. And today we have all these videos and everything. You don't even have to talk a lot. Just play the button, let the video do the work for you. But where does this 93%, which is 55% of body language and 38% of the tone, where does that come from? That actually comes from your mindset. And if your mindset is not right, and I always say this, 80% is always mindset, it's only 20% which is skill set. So your mindset has to be right for you to conquer this 93% of presentation. And what is the mindset you got to have? And I see a lot of people having the mindset of a beggar. And I always see two different types of people doing ACN. I see people with beggar mentality, and I see people with a giver mentality. And I don't care whether it comes to inviting, it comes to speaking, it comes to signing up. You either are a giver or you are a beggar. And I see a lot of people, please come to the presentation, please join, please sign up. And all of that is a beggar mentality. The giver mentality, if you have giver mentality, you don't care. I give this example all the time. I give you example again just to really get this into your head. Imagine if I tell all of you, I'm gonna tomorrow all of you need to wake up and you need to go to your local high street, and every person that you see over there, you need to ask that person, you need to beg that person for 10 pounds. Now you tell me how excited you will be waking up tomorrow. You tell me what will be your body language. You will be looking for excuses. Oh, I can't go, I have ache. Oh, I can't go, this and that. You'll be looking for excuses. And imagine if you go, you beg somebody and that person says no, you'll feel really bad. That's a beggar mentality. But imagine if I tell you right now, I'm putting 5,000 pounds in your accounts, and you need to go out tomorrow in your local high street, and you need to give 50 pounds to every person that you see. And if that person accepts £50 note, you get 5 pounds out of that. Now imagine how excited you guys will be to go out, wake up tomorrow. You guys will be very excited because you're gonna go out, you're gonna help people. And if you go out and present a £50 note to somebody and that person says no, will you feel bad? You'll not feel bad. You'll feel bad for that person. So that's a very important subject of having a giver mindset. Next is understand the power of leverage. A lot of people say, do I have to build a team? Can I not get customers by myself? But this is what the first documented billionaire on the planet, he said, I would rather make 1% of the effort of 100 people than 100% of my own effort. It's entirely up to you. Do you want to work the rest of your life as a salesman? Do you want to work because understand this, this is what Mr. Nigolo, top team called Mr. Silver Nigolo, success alone is ugly. And I love what he said, even if you become a millionaire alone, nobody knows you, who cares? The beauty of ACN is you're not going to become rich alone. You, through this process, if you want to become senior vice president, you want to become a top earner of ASEAN, you have to help a lot of people become financially free, and only then in ASEAN you're going to achieve your financial freedom. And I love this aspect of ASEAN, that we get to leverage the time, the effort of other people, but most importantly, we get to leverage the skills of other people. Because the beauty of ASEAN was, I came in touch with some of the people, who are far more talented than me. Like, we signed up a lady in America. She is vice president of Citigroup, of Citibank Group. She's actually on the call. And imagine, through ASEAN, I got in touch with her, and we're going to work together. We're going to help her to build her business in ASEAN. And that's only possible because of ASEAN. And you guys have got exactly same opportunity. And if you don't understand the power of leverage, you'll never have an unlimited growing army of customers. So for that, it's very important to understand the power of leverage. And then I see a lot of people going out and talking to people, and the first person you got to recruit is recruit yourself, because people don't follow people with money, people follow people with vision. And our co-founder says 99.9% is not good enough. 99.9% is equal to 0%. So you got to be 100% in. And with that mindset, when you go talk to people, you don't have to say anything. Just with with the way you conduct yourself, your body language, they can see this person is on a mission. They will follow you. But if you're somebody, you're not sure about ASEAN, you go into a presentation with your shoulders down, you're not dressed up properly, you're not excited, people can see your face before you talk. And you lost them even before you said one word about ASEAN. ASEAN is such a big opportunity, but just because is the best thing about ASEAN is anybody can have ASEAN. And the worst thing about ASEAN is anybody can have ASEAN. And they go out and they represent ASEAN. That's the worst thing. But you got to become the person, recruit yourself first, go out, talk to people, and everybody will listen to you. And most important is the emotional management. A lot of people do not become successful in ASEAN because they emotionally attach themselves to what people say. If somebody says yes, they're super excited. If somebody says no, they get crazy. And look, we are human beings. Even today, when somebody says no to me, I do feel bad, but I don't feel bad for 1 year, and I don't feel bad for 1 month. I maybe feel bad for 5 minutes, and then I'm over it. And that's what you need to do. If you feel emotional when somebody says no to you, try to reduce the time. If you feel bad for a month, try to reduce it to 1 week, and then maybe try to reduce it to 1 day, then maybe try to reduce it to 1 hour. And right now, if somebody says no to me, I just look down and then I look up, and I'm fine. I'm over it. And this is the most important thing when it comes to presentation. You cannot say the right things to the wrong person and the wrong things to the right person. If the person is right, I don't care what you say. The timing is right in their life, they will just join. I remember myself, if somebody had come to me with the most dodgy deal in the world, the timing in my life was so so important that I was looking for something. I would have said yes to anything, but I'm so blessed, so humble that somebody approached me with ASEAN and I came into ASEAN. Then this is the most important thing, law of averages. You got to understand that. A lot of people don't understand this, that you have to
We lost you, Tahir. Come back, Tahir. You there, Tahir? You're back.
Yes.
You're back.
You got me back?
Yes, you were just, we just didn't quite get, you were just reading out Jim Rohn's quote there. We lost you.
This one?
No,
Did you get me back?
the one. No, we got that one with Jim Rohn. The next one we didn't get.
Did you get the emotional management?
Yeah, we got that. We got that. It's the last one we didn't get. This
okay,
one.
Law of averages.
Yes. Oh, we lost you again. Okay, you're back, I think.
I'm back. Okay, thank you. Can you hear me now, Jenny?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so law of averages, I was talking about this, that you got to, if, as Mr. Jim Rohn says, if you share a good idea long enough, it will eventually fall on good people, okay? Now, what are the presentation tools we have? We can present somebody using the 1 to 10 sheet, we can present using the PowerPoint slides, and we can present using the MyQuiz video. Now, a lot of people ask me, Tahir, what is the best tool to present to people? What's the best answer? Now, there is no best answer. It really what suits you. It's really what you are good at. If you're good at just using the sheet, use the sheet. If you're good at using the slides, use the slides. If you're good at sharing the video, just share the video. It's entirely up to you. You got to see what suits you and what suits your prospect. A lot of times, when I speak to somebody, as Mrs. Sujuru shared with you guys, that you look at the personality of a person. If I look at an urchin, probably I'll do a PowerPoint slides presentation because it has got more details. If I'm talking to somebody, who is like a shark, I'll show Ahmed Mukhtar's video. I'll show all the Lamborghinis and I'll show all the Bentleys, and that's it. He's signed up. So you really need to see the person, and you need to see the first.
Losing you again.
It's not good. My children are using internet. I have to stop them. Or maybe if he does it again, I'll have to use, my phone's internet. Okay, so this was my mindset before my personal development. I'm sure everybody can read this. I used to have this mindset, which is on this screen. I used to think, I don't know who you are, but I will find you and I will recruit you. But really and truly, first of all, you need to know them as a person. And as we always say, people don't care how much you know until you know how much you care. And for that, we use the form technique all the time. And there are 4 questions which you must answer through your presentation. And if these questions are answered, they will join ACN. If they're not answered, they may not join the ACN opportunity. The first question which we must talk about is the credibility of ACN, because there are a lot of get-rich-quick schemes around. So immediately when we sit down with somebody, we need to differentiate, and I'll tell you how to do that. Then you need to talk about, does this business make sense? Okay. And then you need to talk about, the person is asking themselves in their mind, can I do this? And lastly, the most important question is, will someone help me? So here's the first, pretty much the first part of our presentation, which talks about the credibility. We've been around for 25 years. We got our headquarters, all of that. This really talks about the credibility. So if you ever sit down with somebody and they're not sure about the credibility of ACN, that means you've not done a good job presenting the background of ACN. Because if you present the ACN background properly, immediately they can see that it's a credible company. Next, when he talks about making sense, you just talk about essential services and residual income. In this question, if you just mention 2 things, essential services, residual income, that's more than enough. Okay. Next is, can I do this? This is where a lot of people make it complicated. You got to keep it very simple. Just tell them you get started, 4 different types of incomes, and literally read through this. And the best thing is, when you're going through this presentation, you're going through different boxes or slides, just start with this. Let me explain you what is our business model, and then read through this. Number 4, you can say, let me explain you how the online business works. Let me explain you the perfect compensation plan. Let me explain you the personal commissions. Let me explain you the team commissions. Let me explain you the earned positions. This is where you're not selling ACN. And a lot of people are very good at selling ACN. We don't want to sell ACN. We just want to explain ACN. Okay. Then the last question is, will someone help me? And this is where you need to get out of the way. So a lot of people just focus on themselves. I'm here, I'm going to help you. But most importantly, what you need to promote is the training system of ACN, because we have excellent training system of ACN. And this is where our co-founders have made sure that the burden of this training is not just on our shoulders. And I used to think that, and I used to get a lot of worried about this, that I've got so many people who's going to train them. And I used to try to train all of them by myself. And I used to be very worried, very tired, not getting many results, until I understood that we got to use the training system of ACN. And if you just put people into this training system, you promote training, you promote the system rather than promoting yourself. People get into the system and they bring their people into the system. That's how you get the real leverage and you get the real momentum. And a very important thing is, during presentation is not just about talking, it's about listening. And this is probably the best quote I've ever found on listening by Mr. Stephen R. Covey in The Habits of Highly Effective People, world best-selling book. And this is what he says. He says, most people don't listen with intent to understand, they listen with intent to reply. And I have this video over here of Amazon, owner, Mr. Jeff Bezos. I just want to play this video if I can.
I went to my boss and said to him, I'm going to go
Jenny, can you guys hear the sound?
Yes. Good.
This crazy thing, and I'm going to start this this company selling books online. And this is something that I had already been talking to him about in a sort of more general context. But then he said, let's go on a walk. And we went on a 2-hour walk in Central Park in New York City. And the conclusion of that was this. He said, this actually sounds like a really good idea to me, but it sounds like it would be a better idea for somebody who didn't already have a good job. And he convinced me to think about it for 48 hours before making a final decision. And so I went away and was trying to find the right framework in which to make that kind of big decision. And I'd already talked to my wife about this, and she was very supportive and said, look, you can count me in 100%, whatever you want to do. It's true, she had married this kind of fairly stable guy and a stable career path, and now he wanted to go do this crazy thing, but she was 100% supportive. So it really was a decision that I had to make for myself. And the framework I found, which made the decision incredibly easy, was what I called, which only a nerd would call, a regret minimization framework. So I wanted to project myself forward to age 80 and say, okay, now I'm looking back on my life. I want to have minimized the number of regrets I have. And I knew that when I was 80, I was not going to regret having tried this. I was not going to regret having trying to participate in this thing called the internet that I thought was going to be a really big deal. I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret that. But I knew the one thing I might regret is not ever having tried. And I knew that that would haunt me every day. And so when I thought about it that way, it was an incredibly easy decision. And I think that's a very good, it's if you can project yourself out to age 80 and sort of think, what will I think at that time? It gets you away from some of the daily pieces of confusion. I left this Wall Street firm in the middle of the year. When you do that, you walk away from your annual bonus. And that's the kind of thing that in the short term can confuse you. But if you think about the long term, then you can really make good life decisions that you won't regret later.
Okay, so if some of you did miss that, the bottom line of this video is, there was actually a research in which they, interviewed a lot of people 80 and above, and they asked them, what is the things that they really, regret at this time? And they replied, all of them, they replied just one thing: they don't regret most of the things they did. What they really regret is the things they did not do. So, I'm telling you, every one of you have got this great opportunity of ACN. When you're going to be 80, 90, towards the end of your life, you will not regret that you did not wake up to go on job on a Monday morning. What you will really regret is you did not take the full opportunity, full advantage of this ACN opportunity. So I invite everybody. I've never been so excited about ACN that I am today about ACN, because we are really at the best time of ACN ever, with the composition plan, with the announcements, with the new services coming up, with the global expansion, with us expanding into Colombia very soon. I'm telling you guys, this is the time you do want to take advantage. I made a decision, and when it comes to decision means, you don't have any expiration date on that if I do this in this much time, I will do ACN. I don't care. I will die trying, or I'll become senior vice president. So that's the mindset everybody has to have. And if you have that mindset, the day you make that mindset, and this is what Mr. Mark Allen says in this book, The Millionaire Course, he says, as soon as your dream becomes stronger than your doubts and your fears, your dreams begin to manifest. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you. I'm sure, Jenny, I finished in time. You would be happy. Thank you so much, guys.
Oh, Tahir, thank you so much.